Right, welcome back to my 65 years on this planet little mini series. This will probably be the last one, as I have a few other videos to make ready for when I start begin the new year. But it's one story. I don't know how I come to forget it, but I'll forget to tell you. But I'm going to fill you in now. The year is 1977. It's March. The racing season. My first meeting of the season. We got the regs. The regulations in February, filled them in straight away for March. We got 4 races booked and paid for, 2 production, 2 open 500. But I found my way to Snetterton Arsenal. We got there quite early for once. Got the bike ready, took the stand off, put the racing numbers on, made certain all the glass was taped and the plastic was taped, just so I didn't cause too much an issue if I should fall off. Well, I will say I never fell off racing. Fell off enough times on the road, but never racing. There seemed to be something different about the track that day, and I found out why. About 10 minutes after I got everything ready, I was just lined up for scrutiny, and I saw this big motorhome come in. It was a Heron Suzuki motorhome. It was Barry Sheene. Now Barry, at the time, in 1977, he had just won his first World Championship. Which is something not too many people can say that they've won a World Championship, the 500cc especially, which was then the Blue Ribbon Fendt. And he went on to win it again in 77, I won't fill that in, only the 5th rider to hold on to the title. Other riders have done it a lot more times than 2 in a row, but it's still quite an achievement. Right, what had happened was his new bikes were ready and he'd been testing them, but he hadn't really got himself into full racing trim. So he brought last year's bike with him, and he'd asked David, I can't remember his surname, David Bailey, Dave Bailey, president of the Newmarket District Motorcycle Club, if he could join in meet. Dave said, yeah, if we've got space you can come. You know, I don't want to push one of the club members out, because as is normal for top riders, they belong to all the clubs. It's something that they just tend to do, or they used to. Don't know what they still do. So Barry got his bike out, had his engineer with him, his wife Stephanie was there, and he turned up at Scrutineer, and by the time I'd finished Scrutineer, and I was getting ready for practice. I'd lined up for practice, so I thought I'd get an early one out of the way. Practice was just something I'd done to fill in the time. I never really enjoyed doing practice. Came back and Barry went out on the track, a couple of practice sessions after I did. He only had about 10-15 minutes each session, and the sessions went on all morning. As soon as they opened up the Scrutineer and the practice would start, so as soon as you'd done Scrutineer you could go straight over and start practicing. Well, my first race was a production race. Done my normal thing, battle out not to come last, which I think I succeeded in. I think one was behind me. But my next race was a 500. Wow. There was about 30 offers, I suppose, on the grid. Snetterton in those days had 40 starters for a bike meeting. And I looked back, and right at the back, in 40th grid position, was Barry Sheene. He had got an empty row in front of him. But he'd been told if he took part, he'd have to actually start from the back. So, flag fell, and in those days too, we didn't do this pussy clutch start rubbish. We stood alongside our bike, with it in first gear, clutch pulled in, and ran. And when we got a little bit of speed up, we jumped on the saddle, let go of the clutch at the same time, then whipped the clutch almost straight in again so as the engine turned over. And hopefully it fired, and you revved it like hell, slip in the clutch, get over and climb aboard. Easy once you've done it a few times. Not very easy the first couple of times you do it. And not in the middle of a grid, I can assure you. Luckily, production racing was started on the kickstart or electric start. And one or two people, I will just say this, one or two people who had electric starts on their bikes who were using production bikes and used to cheap run alongside for a couple of paces, jump aboard and press the button. I always thought that was a bit cheaty, but never mind. So I can actually honestly say I led the current world championship, the champion, in a race. Well, in two races actually. I took part in the second 500 as well. Mind, I didn't get far. I started at the middle of the grid, I suppose, and I hadn't got halfway along halfway from the start line to the richest bend, first bend on the circuit, before Barry came barreling past me, passing people left, right and centre. And after 5 laps he pulled in. It'd been a bit embarrassing for him to actually win the races, because let's face it, his bike was 10 times better than anybody else's, and he was 50 times better than most of the rest of us. But I wouldn't mind betting there's not that many clubmen who can say they've been in the same race as the current world champion. I would honestly say that can't happen very often. But that was that one. I can't think of too many other racing tales. Well, I got one or two, but I'm going to tell you another little joke we played on someone when I worked at the Maltings. This chap, I'll call him Joe, not his actual name, but I'm going to call him Joe. Joe was nosy, and when he found someone out, he was also a gossip. He'd find someone out, be halfway around the village by lunchtime if he found it in the morning, and by the evening that'd be halfway around the local town. And if his wife got home, when he told his wife, that would be all the way around the local town. Well, I'd only just learnt to drive, only just passed my driving test. I was very late in getting a car licence, so I didn't enjoy it a lot. I will be honest, I don't drive much now, if I can help it. The wife does just about all the driving. She's a far better driver than I'll ever be, and that works out quite well. Give me 2 wheels any day. Anyway, I came in on a Monday, and I didn't have the car with me. I think I was having some work done. Jill came up to me and said, "Oh, where's the car, Mike?" And just off the top of my head, I come up with this. I don't know, Jill, I don't know what that's going to do to me. It was terrible. What do you mean? What do you mean? Well, I was coming home from Norwich on Saturday. I lost control of the car. Just there, and I mentioned the lay-by on the way home from Norwich. I went into that lay-by at high speed. There's a cop car in there and I hit it. What do you think they're going to do to me? No, I could see by then he was itching to get away, so I let him. I just walked around the corner, then dashed back and watched. Right, his first thought, he lived just over the road from the mountains. The first thing is I saw him cutting across the road, high speed. Tell his wife. Then he came back, and within half an hour, the whole plant had heard. And one of them came up to me and said, "Is that true? What's that?" I won't mention his name. "What's that?" I said. "Well, what Joe was saying, that you ran into a police car." I said, No, I just pulled his leg. You know what he's like. So I didn't think that'd be true. You wouldn't have been here if it had been. I kept that going the rest of that day. That was just as I was leaving off, I told him the truth. He was not amused. He was someone who liked pulling over people's legs, but he hated having his arm pulled. We had another one, very similar to that, and our engineer, we were pulling his leg, we had a back gate, and we had a farmer come in there to empty some silage out, some slurry out now and again. Byproduct of the molten industry, it's a type of slurry. And he had a key to this back gate, and we kept kidding the engineer that the key would work because the lock was so rusty, and he soaked that thing in oil 5 times in a month until told it wasn't true. Oh, and another one against Joe. This is my classic long distance wind-up. We had a production manager at the time when I first started there, and he was a bit of a tartar. He was also a kleptomaniac, but don't think I'll go any further than that into it. But he says, shall we put it like this, you made something everything was bolted down, this manager was about. He was also quite mean. And the guys who had already been working there kidded up Joe that they were all getting Christmas cards from him, and Joe wasn't. So when I started there, they primed me about it. So I knew what to say. So first, he asked me about November time. Have you had a card from such and such yet? I said, no, I haven't yet. No, not yet. Do you think I'll get one? Nah, you won't get one. I don't get one, so you won't, said Joe. So a couple of days later, beginning of December it was, I went to see Joe. I found him. I said, yeah, I just got a Christmas card from the manager, from the production manager. You didn't? Yeah, I did, true. And we kept this going for a couple of years. Every Christmas we were getting cards and Joe wasn't. Now, Joe got married in the meantime, and at one firm's due, we had his wife was going to beard this manager and ask him why her Joe wasn't good enough to get a card. God, it took some fast thinking from us and fast talking to stop her. And as far as I know, he still doesn't realise that none of us were getting cards from this character. That might not be that funny, but that amused me. I'd like to thank everybody also for the excellent responses I'm getting on this little series. From, let's go read a couple out. There's one here from Farmer Klein. Here's to 364 more days of stories. And Dirty Tractor Doctor, you probably should just do a series on Rufy's random thoughts. They are fantastic. These sort of things really makes it all worthwhile. I had a message from Stu, and he was confirming a little bit what I said about the forklift. He also only has an on-site license, and say mine wasn't even on-site. Before you had to be licensed, probably. Then mine was an insurance certificate to prove I was safe. Me safe. They'd never watch me work. Nice reply from Grizzly. Jerry, he loves the stories. Thanks Jerry. Eustace Farmer, and you must pop up to Eustace Farmer and see the video he did for me. And he's loving his stories, and he's also added his own in there. Thanks, Eustace. Oh, and Doug Zorley, those ashes are not yours to keep. They're only on loan, and for those who don't know, that's cricket. And talking about cricket, I used to watch a lot of cricket, mainly our local county side, minor county side, Norfolk. But one year, I was living at home. It's been 1981, and it'll be the the Edgbaston test. No, Headingley test. Sorry, get it right. The Headingley test, the Yorkshire test, between England and Australia, and England went all kinds of bother. They had already lost about 5 wickets in their second innings and still hadn't caught up to the Australian total when Bopham come out to bat. Ian Terence Bopham, who had been skipper, had been relieved of the captaincy just before that match, and Mike Braley had taken over. Mike Braley wasn't as good a player as Bopham, but he was a better captain, far better captain. Anyway, I was at home. It's a day off, and I was picking peas. Parents had a large garden. That's a council house, and it was built just after the war, when we still had memories of needing to be able to feed ourselves properly, so a lot of places were built then with very large gardens. Not quite so good now, but Mother is still living there, and now it's in her 80s, and she is not that mobile and can't do it. But those two are quite good. But they used to grow a lot of peas, and I used to. And my job that day was to pick the peas, shell them, blanch them, and freeze them. Well, to make matters a bit easier, we used to make homebrewed beer too, and I had a couple of pints of homebrew out there. And what I'd do, I'd fill up my mug, put about 10 paces ahead of me, pick up to that mug, have a really good drink, but another 10 paces ahead, go back to where it was and pick up again. But because both of them was going so well in the test, and I had the radio on, I was listening to it, the 10 paces became 5 paces. So I was drinking double what I should have been. I tell you what, I went half merry by that night. Oh, don't know how I managed to pod and blanch and freeze those peas. Right, you might notice I'm doing this a different way. Well, you might want to notice, but I don't know what pictures I got on, because I decided to record the sound first. You might notice that I'm having to hurry a bit at the end to finish the same time as the pictures do, because I haven't recorded enough video. So this time I decided I'd do the talking first and put a video in there later. Oh yes, and I've just gone through some of these ones there. James Johnson. Hi Mike, you reminds me of the singing postman from the 60s. Yes, well, same part of the world. That was James originally, who was born at Caister, which is on the coast near Yarmouth. And he lived there until he was 3, so he can't remember too much, but he moved away then. But yes, the singing postman. Funny thing about the singing postman. At one time, he was more popular in Norfolk than the Beatles. Remember, this was the 60s. The Beatles were hot. They were getting gold discs before they released the singles. They had so many pre-sales. That stuff didn't stay on the shelves very long at all then, but the Singing Postman actually was outselling them. Let's see if we've got... Oh yes, Chris. My good mate Chris Webb. He's been an absolute rock just the last few months. He's gone beyond the Call of Duty and watching the videos and commenting on them. So just a special thanks to Chris. And he's now, and it's also, you will hear his name being mentioned in the Old Ridge series, because he is a part of that now. Not him personally, but his name and his character. I've made a character of him in there. And there's so many nice things. I'm not going to go through them all, because this has been my most popular video for some time. The first one. The second one not so much, but even so. Plus I should do Dirty Tractor, Doctor says, and do a few more of them. But there's only so much I can do, and I don't want to upset too many people, because if they go on too long. I will end this little thing. I started on a political thing. I'm not going to end it on a thing. I'm going to end it on religion. I will make it clear that the character in Old Ridge is very much me, the main character. No religion, an atheist, and a socialist, and that's me. I have nothing against people believing what they want to believe, as long as they don't try to involve me in it. It's a simple philosophy. You believe what you want, but don't try and convince me. I'm an old Norfolk boy, and I'm a bit like a mule. I tend to stick my heels in, and you won't budge me. Well, I just thought I'd just put that out there, just my own personal thing. And by all means, if you ever believe and you want to pray for me, feel free to do so. Just don't ask me to join in. And I think that's all I'm going to say about Because I know a lot of my friends are religious, and good luck to you. It's a free world. Well, quite a bit of it. I'll be straying too close to politics again, and I think we stay well clear. Oh yes, I will finish up on racing stuff. Now I didn't just race at Snedden. It's the only permanent circuit I ever raced on. But the different clubs had made arrangements with some of the forces to use their bases, because most of the bases around Norfolk were old airfields, and they had perimeter runways. Especially one which was just outside Cambridge at let's see if we can get this right, Waterbeach. It was, I think it's closed. I think Waterbeach base is closed now. An RAF base. It was an anti-aircraft base. Had missiles there, and not that we were allowed to see them. But they also had this very long, continuous runway all the way around the base, or most of the way around it. It had 1.25 miles, I think, of back straight. That's right, 1.25 miles. Well, I can tell you now, on a race there, I used to take out on the track with me a flask of coffee and a good book. So I had something to do whilst I was on this back straight. Because once I got to about 105, I wasn't going to go any quicker, and I'd done that half, 3/4 mile, I was about halfway along the straight. I was at top speed, it was just a case of keeping dead flat and watch the world go by, and just try to remember where my breaking point was at the other end. This was a very high speed circuit, didn't suit me at all. I didn't have the speed. But I tell you what, the RAF boys fed us well. Oh well, we had to pay for it, of course, but they were cheaper than the snack and the food, and better. They looked after us right well. And we also, another club had made arrangements at West Raynham, which I think was an army base. I don't know what that was used for, but now again no longer used. But they had enough track there to make a very twisty, turny track, and that didn't suit me either. I want something between the two of them. I was never, excuse me, never satisfied me. So a couple of tracks there we raced at. The twisty one was fine, except that the T500R was not the bike you want to flip from side to side, shall we say. It took more to being treated gently and eased into the corner. You didn't just chuck it in. Oh yes, that reminds me of another one. I think that was my last season races. It must be about 78. I still had the 500. That was quarter way into the season. I changed the bike over to the 450. But I had rear sets. I had clip-ons and rear sets on it. Little bikini fare and big 6-gallon alloy tank. Single race seat, but the engine was bog standard. But the rear sets, the linkage was getting a little bit sloppy on the gear change, and it didn't always get into gear when I was changing down, which wouldn't have been too bad, except first meeting that season, wet, which not what you really wanted for the first race, a wet race. Hammering into the first race, hammering into the first bend, Richards. Went to change down, that missed the gear completely. Now, I tapped on it a couple of times and it hadn't found a gear. Now, at that point I daren't try tapping it down again, because I had already gone past 2 gears and I landed up with the first. I'd be off on the air because the rear wheel just locked solid. And I was just picking out which drawbar I was going to hit when everything suddenly gripped. No drive still, but I just made to scramble round. Went the rest of the lap and it wasn't playing up at all. Next lap went into the second lap, went into the Richard, no problems. Third lap, done exactly the same again. At that point I decided enough was enough. I'd better pull in and adjust that linkage up. Should have done it beforehand, but did I ever mention I'm lazy? Well, I think I'm going to leave it there for now. If I think of any more I might do another one, but I might do these as an occasional series. It won't be a regular. I just haven't got the tales. And every tale I told in these is true. 100% true. I haven't had a remarkable life. I haven't even had a long life yet. I tell you what, I've had a very happy life. I will just say one of them. My father didn't believe in children working, so I didn't even have to have a paper round when I was a kid. I was given a small amount of pocket money. We weren't rich. We were poor. We were dirt poor. But Dad did not believe in children working, so I didn't work. And I've been lucky with my parents. I know you can't pick your parents, but if I could, I wouldn't have picked anyone different to Kath and Bill. Dad died a few years ago after a long illness. Actually, I was grateful when he did die because that put him out of it completely. He wasn't really with it his last couple of years of his life. Anyway, on that sad note, that's not really sad, it's happy because he made me what I am. So you can blame Billy. We always did. And with that, I'm going to say, if you like what you saw, please consider leaving a like. If you're not subscribed and wish to see more, although there won't be that many more at this particular time, I'll be back on the normal series come the new year. Feel free to subscribe. Any comments, questions, queries, or even tales of your own life, please post them in the comment section. I love to read them. I read everyone. I try and reply to everyone. As I said before, I haven't got a massive amount of subscribers, but those I've got, I think, are the best in the world. I quite often argue with the BP on this. He reckons he's got the best, and I tell him he can't have. I've got them. Well, we've got quite a few the same. He's just got more of them than I have. Anyway, with that, it's Mammon saying cheerio for now. Cheerio. And have a happy Christmas and a very prosperous and healthy new year.